What's up, everybody? It's Mark from Long Creeps Limited.
Long Creeps Limited.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Well, I wasn't going to do it because they're a dime a dozen. But I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to do lawn mowing tips for beginners. So yeah, let's talk about mowing the lawn, cutting the grass. You love it, you hate it. As homeowners, it's something we know we gotta do. Some people think it's a pain in the ass. It's the summertime version of shoveling snow. They get stung by bees, they're covered in grass and sweaty, and they gotta listen to that loud, obnoxious lawnmower, and it takes away their time to do other stuff. Other people, they love it, they live for it. It's a part of their house, an extension of their house. Frames up their house beautifully, and they take pride in it. If you saw my previous video, I completely gushed about lawns and grass. I am obsessed with it, completely obsessed with it. Unlike a lot of other fanatics out there, I try to approach it from a realistic standpoint and stuff. So this video is for the brand new homeowner, has a yard that needs help, or the person that's been around a while and maybe wants to just kind of improve their lawn this year. Let's start here kind of thing. It could be overwhelming, right? You kind of go out to a big box hardware store or whatever, and you look at a aisle full of chemicals and grass seeds and fertilizers and this and that, and you're asking employees, and they maybe give you some wrong advices. So let's look at this thing, because it all starts basically with a couple of key simple things that no one probably ever thinks of, that basically start with the lawnmower. So we're gonna get into that. Let's check it out. Good lawns start with this thing, right? Not fertilizers, not weed be gone, not schmangdaboo, blah blah blah. It starts with this machine. It's called a lawnmower. The first thing I want you to do, the first step into a bigger world, I want you to go out to the shed or the garage. I want you to look at that lawnmower that you've been using, and I want you to look at the height of the deck, the chassis of the lawnmower. How high is it right here? You've probably been mowing too low. You most likely are mowing too low because that's just the way you were taught. That's what Dad showed you, because Grandpa showed him that way, because keeping it short and tight was considered a tidy look. But that's not really the case, and it's detrimental to the turf grass. And the second reason is people have this train of thought of, well, I'm gonna cut this sucker short, give it a crew cut, and then I won't have to mow next week. It'll take longer for this grass to grow out, and it saves me time and energy, because I hate mowing lawns. I'd rather be inside wearing whitey tighties with my sombrero on, watching cartoons. So adjusting the height on your mower and mowing higher is just something that never even really crossed your mind. And maybe you didn't even realize that you can adjust the height. You can adjust your mowing height. For those of you that have the hand-me-down lawnmower, older mowers didn't really have this real, visible, pronounced lever. In fact, this mower is brand new, and it's got, the numbers by each notch to adjust it. Because nowadays people realize that adjusting your mowing height to the proper height is good practice. Your beautiful lawn starts with the way you mow it with this thing. So that's step one right there. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna find out, how to adjust these. It's either by each wheel. It might be kind of hard to get in there and do it on the older ones, or the newer ones obviously have this, and you're gonna raise that sucker all the way up to the top, or to the second to the top, and start mowing super high. Most of our grasses around here in the Midwest, you've got your Kentucky bluegrass. You've got your ryegrass. And your fescues. All of those should be mowed between 2.5 and 4 inches. And again, that's depending on how much time and effort you can commit to mowing often. Keeping it, mowed high but tidy, so therefore mowed often. What can you commit to this thing? And the reason we want to mow high is that we don't want to be scalping our lawns. We don't want to be tearing into the crown of that grass plant. We want to keep that grass mowed high and maintain that height for many reasons. The first being that a taller grass is going to shade out the weed seeds, and it's going to outcompete those weeds. If you scalped your lawn, you've got a lot of bare soil that sun is going to beat down on and help germinate weed seeds and grow the weeds. So you want that blade to kind of take that opportunity away from those weeds. Also, along that same thought, is the longer leaf of grass is going to also soak up that sun and produce the photosynthesis and all of that stuff. And the main reason I would say is that a longer grass plant is obviously going to have a longer root, so it's going to be far more drought tolerant and heat tolerant. Disease, insect, and problem resistance is going to be a benefit from a long, strong root system underneath that nice tall grass that's fully intact and not broken crowns and stuff like that. So there is a reason why we want to raise that mowing deck and mow high. So I think we've kind of beat the mowing height to death. You are now raised up at a good level. You're going to commit to mowing your grass all season long at that higher level, whatever's comfortable for you within that 3 to 4 inch range. So that's great, good for you. That is the first step to becoming a lawn creep, right? The second thing you should do, in addition to mowing high, is mowing with a super sharp blade. Okay, so if you're mowing your lawn with a rusty, old, dinged up, and super dull, rounded blade, you are not cutting your grass. You are tearing through the grass. You're damaging it, and it doesn't like it. It's stressing the plant out, and it's just a total invitation to fungal diseases, drought and heat damage. It's not going to grow vigorously, and it's just going to be an absolute tragedy. It doesn't matter how high you're mowing, right? You raised your mower deck, but you've got this nasty old blade tearing through your grass. It's just not going to work out there. Conversely, if you're mowing with a super sharp, I'm talking about razor sharp lawnmower blade, you're making a nice, beautiful cut right through that grass, and it is a nice, even, clean cut. So it's better for the grass. It's more fuel efficient. It's easier on your lawnmower. It's easier on the guy or girl pushing the lawnmower. There's so many reasons to mow with that razor sharp blade. But honestly, the main reason is for the overall health of the grass, right? We're trying to improve our lawn. These are the initial steps before any kind of fertilizer and before coming up with a game plan on weed control. The best possible things you can do as your starting point is your mowing high, mowing often, and mowing with a razor sharp blade, and everything's great, and you're just this lawn creep now. It's awesome. How does it feel? Pretty good, right? That's where I say that I'm not really going to go into a step-by-step tutorial on blade sharpening. The easiest thing that you can do really is just take it in and have a little lawnmower repair shop or your local hardware shop or whatever go ahead and do it for you. But for all of you DIYers, or for you who are more ambitious, it is not that hard to do, and it's cool. And then you have the satisfaction of knowing that, hey, you know what? I care about my lawn enough, and I care about this lawn care thing. I'm upping my game this year. I actually took my blade off, I sharpened it, I put it back on, and I could see the difference right away from cutting my lawn with a sharp blade. So if you are up for that challenge, I'm just going to fire off some random bullet points in here as to not get into a long-winded discussion. Tip over your lawnmower with the air filter up in the air, always. I suggest draining the gas out of your mower before tipping it. Just saying. Pull the spark plug cap off of the spark plug before doing any kind of work underneath that lawnmower. Buy a new blade, a replacement blade by the manufacturer or a third-party manufacturer, and have two blades, two good blades. Maybe the blade that's on there now is in decent shape. You can clean it up, wire brush it, and sharpen it. And you can also have that brand new one, both super sharp, and you can interchange them at least once per season. And as far as the how to sharpen your blade step-by-step video, again, that is another video for another time. But real quick, here's just kind of some random thoughts on that as well. You can use a regular hand file, put that blade in a vise and just kind of file that sucker down with this. That's perfectly legit, and it's probably the best thing to do for a kind of a DIY guy that's first stepping into this whole thing. They do make a nice little attachment for the end of your drill. It's a circular kind of angled thing. Follow the directions on the package. Pretty self-explanatory, but again, you put your blade in a vise and this little circular thing kind of slightly wraps around that blade a little bit, and you kind of go back and forth like that, and that's awesome too. Or you could obviously, if you've got a bench grinder, you can do it on your bench grinder. That is the one way where you are going to have to be careful with how much material you take off on each side. Those things are hard to do, man. I'm not afraid to admit it's rough sharpening your lawnmower blade on a bench grinder. So I would suggest the first two things here I just said, and then just get that thing back on. Make sure it's balanced. You know, they make a little cone, a little plastic cone that you set the blade on to make sure that it's like pretty much you know, balanced. Because if you put an unbalanced blade back on your mower, and or you don't tighten the blade enough when you put it back on, it is going to vibrate the hell out of your lawnmower. It's going to cut your grass is not going to be cut evenly. It's going to be weird looking. You're going to have a whole lawn full of Mr. T's, and that's a problem. So make sure that it is balanced, and make sure you put it back on tight, and you are good to go, man. You've got a super You've got a super razor sharp lawnmower blade that's going to make this amazing cut right through those grass blades. Your grass is going to be tall and healthy. You're going to have these long, amazing roots, and then you're going to be ready for the next step. You're going to be ready for the next step in lawn care, which is going to be basically kind of coming up with a weed control program, how you kind of want to handle weeds, and we're going to step into the world of fertilizing. All right, so come with me, and we are going to get your lawn up to Lawn Creep standards. All right. So our deck is raised up, our blade is super sharp. Let's go mow the lawn. So that's going to go ahead and be it for this episode of Lawn Creeps Limited. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully it was entertaining, informative, or at least thought-provoking. Maybe get you thinking about your own lawn and kind of where you want to go with that thing this year. I try to keep these things kind of loose and like a conversation with a neighbor. If you want to come back for more of these videos, we'll definitely talk about the next steps in your lawn care program, and we will just have some fun with this thing, and we will all become lawn creeps.